One here. Thank you to Ringers. I reckon that's the way I pronounce the name, and RNG, it's great to be here. I joined your group a while ago. I follow very cerebral discussions, even though sometimes it gets too heavy to keep up with. My name is Dr. Fashua. I'm 47 years old. I'm an economist by training. That's the one I prefer to identify with the most, even though I have a master's degree in financial markets and derivatives as well. And I'm also in the middle of a PhD in public policy. I like to be eclectic like that, to pick and to the broad. And I think that's at the bottom, that's at the base of economics as a profession. It's about versatility. And I think this is one of the reasons why I'm running for president in this country, this great country, in 2019. I made up my mind in 2016 that I'm not going to be sitting by and complaining like we've done for so long. The time for complaining and analyzing and going on Facebook and Twitter and ranting all day is over. It's so unproductive to so do. And that's the reason why I threw my hat in the ring to say, this time around I'm going to be one of those who stood up to demystify leadership in this country, to demystify politics, especially for those who are at par with me and those who are coming behind me. I will bounce off some of the ideas of my two big brothers, Donald Duke and Professor Moralu, here seated. I was on the streets about 2 days protesting the dismal budgeting of Nigeria. I realized, I did my analysis, Nigeria budget's about $116 per person. That's our budget per capita. And I think this is a good place to move off. $116, and that's the second lowest budget per capita in the world, after only DR Congo, where most of eastern DR Congo is still under rebel control, meaning that perhaps they don't budget for those guys. And I realized that we have actually the lowest budget to GDP in the world. And this is very important because it is in the budget that there's any hope for the people. There'll be a bit of trickle down. And like Excellency Donald Duke said, it's even much more shocking that we're trending down. It's unbelievable. So we are in a broken country, a broken society. I say every one of us should be running for president so that we can throw in as many of our ideas out there and disrupt the system. This system needs to be torpedoed. And, that's what my friends call me. Torpedo. We need to torpedo this entire system because actually what we need at this moment is not just another run-of-the-mill kind of, transitioning. What Nigeria needs, as everybody will know, is a revolution. However, let's make it an intellectual revolution, so that we're fighting on the level of ideas. But by 2019 and going forward, this country must never remain the same again. I represent a school of thought and a group of people that have come up at this point in time. And we're talking about facts and figures-based leadership. We're talking about the urgency of now. We're talking about busting the myths that have held us down up till date. We're talking about attention to details and data. Because as they say, the difference between success and failure is in the details. We're talking about strategy. We're talking about the fact that we must have a plan. And we must have a systemic view of our country and see where we can connect stuff. I have one of my great ideas that I've come up with by God's grace is that, by now we have been so set back that we must now put all our youths into action. Every student of engineering in university should be getting involved in building this country. And there will be nothing wrong in giving them a stipend. If you're in civil engineering, you should start off with building little roads in your school. And then you take it out to the village near you and the little streets. If you're a student of electrical engineering, you should be the one powering Nigeria up from the little village, starting from a bulb and then scaling up from that level. And I think that this is what this is about. 2019 is an inflection point for this country. I believe that with the power and the velocity of ideas that we're coming up with, this country will not remain the same again. Thank you very much. mumble over the rest of the tape. But you have to show up first. There's this cognitive dissonance going on in our country. And this thing is something that we have to work on, all of us. We want it ready-made. The first thing is that this gentleman and myself have stepped out to say, hey, you can do this job. We've seen it done before. Macron is there in France. They started his party less than 1 year. Now, for as long as you keep repeating the same APC PDP thing, you are ingraining in your mind and in the minds of those who are looking up to you that that's the only option. But you'll be shocked. I mean, I'm a chairman of a party as well. We've been to many local government areas. We have members there. People who didn't go to school understand that there's a need for a change. And then we can only work on that. And what we want to do is to be able to bring a narrative that's going to shock the system. Because what we need here is a shock therapy. A narrative that's going to shock the system. That's why we're here. If you had called Buhari and the other gentleman here, they won't come. And we're saying that we need to debate. And I reckon that that's what R&D is about. It's about the debate. And so you should be calling people who you want to know what do they have in plan for this country. Otherwise, here we are, trending down from $25 billion in 1979 dollars. And we're not even considering the inflation rate of the dollar itself. And the fact that that dollar itself has lost value between then and now. And when we're going down to $23 billion in 2019, you should be the ones being our vuvuzela. And that's what I say. You should be our vuvuzela. That if we can't, those places we can't reach, the first thing is, 91 parties are not too much. Listen. I tell people, the problem facing Nigeria, if it was a mathematical question, it's not a linear equation. You're talking about a quadratic equation, a trinomial equation, something with a few lemmas, what they call lemma in mathematics, unsolvable issues. You all should be very angry. And if you're angry enough, you take the message down to them. Not here, sometimes we get put off and they say, we don't know your party. You gotta know it. Why should it be two and another one that's hanging by the side? Come on. Except we're not ready to move on. And I have something to say about women, just very quickly. As a matter of fact, listen, my children, I've got two one in secondary school, one in primary, one in university. I'm just thinking about it now. When we go for their prize giving, when they manage to see a boy to come and pick a prize, they be a boy at last. Girls are the smartest. Women are actually the smartest. The president of R&D is a lady. At any age, I'll say, sir, also not know. At any age, women are actually the smartest. So the point now being that the first thing you have to do is to brave it, just as some of us are stepping out. How many women did step up for presidency, for example? Not so many. Elisha Maide and the lady Fumilayo. You know. So the first thing you have to put yourself out. The reason why I'm here is because I felt to myself, if anyone can do it, if it's good, I can do it too. And so don't let society hold you down. One of the things that I'm going to do, and we're going to do, is to demystify this whole idea where people come with all sorts of forgotten ideas. Women should be at home. Says who? You know, we went on a program in New York. Sorry, just 1 second, I'll be done. In New York, we went on a program sponsored by the UN Women. And a certain party chairman stood up and said the reason why we are not giving women a position is because women in politics, they don't get married. What's your business whether they got married or not? So listen, the point is you have to retire those people, and there's something about the age of people's ideas. And here we are with great ideas, and you've got to give us a chance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, before I do that, His Excellency Donald Duke has it.
I tell people, even when we were aspirants, right? I personally, I do sometimes 5 interviews a day. Newspapers, radios. Now imagine 70 people talking to the press at different points in time. At different platforms, right? We're speaking here. We don't know. Byron is speaking in UI. Everybody is there. That is what we need. I think at the end of the day, we need to have the mindset of a striker in a football match. Your mind is to pick the ball and score. So what is the score here? The score is we want to be able to get this country to positively begin to change, to get to that point where we're having real governance that's, improving the lives of our people. That's it. The political process is just like the avenue by which you get to that point. So what I believe is that the ideas that we're dumping into the space now, please listen to me. Please kindly listen to me. The ideas we're dumping into the space now is much more important. For me, it's much more important than which platform is it. If CMP or one of the new parties that you have never heard before, is Chike Okebu, who is 35 years old. He's in Nigeria. He's talking about, when you listen to him, he's talking about data. And I want us to be able to latch on to one or two of those, because those are, for me, that's a win. I said, look, I don't have to actually sit in Aston Villa, but I want some of my ideas to win, and I'm going to keep on it. And listen, it's because of this quest I've become an activist. Even in universities, I was too young going to university, I never actually went to them to do a Luther. I'm doing a Luther now. So I believe, yes, I do a Luther now because I'm combining this candidacy with also going on the road to say, I want to add 6 trillion to that budget for the purpose of our people. So I'm going to actually, again, support my senior colleagues here to say, this is the right thing. We're going to get to the point where we sit. We did sit together in park. But I told them, when they started the park, say, guys, the way this thing will work, let's take this thing public. Let's make it PLC. When we're having our meeting, let's put it on Facebook Live. Let people say, oh, this is Shiwore, that's Tope, that's Stelajo Tue. But the guys wanted it to be opaque. I said, let's have the debate. What are we selling apart from we are young? Let's take it to the big, let's have debate. But they said no. And so I opted out. Till tomorrow now, I'm even regretting I joined that thing. Then they called me afterwards and said, let's come back together again. I said, we will come together. For what? People are asking me, Neil Adedoku wrote in the Punch 2 days ago. And I just replied him today that, all those boys they just went because they couldn't win. They said they're not doing it. What's that for? So basically, that's the idea. We're going to come together. Some of us are speaking, and a lot of things will evolve. But let's be dumping our ideas in the space. Thank you. Happened a month before the election. We told them then, I told them in part, this thing you are doing is too early. And if you want to do it, then stretch it into January. Let's create the balls. I told them, by the time we take this in, even let the public do the voting before the voting. They said no. So it became an offensive. See, madam, my people say, be careful who you bow for, because you don't know who they are bowing for. We come together in a group, you don't know who's talking and who's going where. So you have to be very careful. This is politics. You have to be extremely careful. So there's something in psychology called some sort of cognitive dissonance. You only know what you know. You don't know what the next person knows. So the fact that we are here in this posh restaurant, invited by posh people, doesn't mean that this is the only thing we do. At least I see what Prof does. And I know what I do as well, going to villages and all of that. So that's the thing. We're not deluded enough to believe that everything happens in places like this or in cities. However, I also believe that, as said before, there are more than 30,000 villages in Nigeria. 30,000 villages in Nigeria. There are 10,000 words. Each word will be at least 6 villages, actually, as a matter of fact. So if we're talking about 60,000 villages, it's not going to happen. Now, but let me also let you know, how did this APC PDP become what we all know? The way I can understand it. Okay, so madam, please, what I'm saying is, the reason why, listen, we have to deal with this cognitive dissonance. If we don't deal with that cognitive dissonance, we're going to be dancing round and round in circles, okay? And if we don't try and convince some of you here tonight, then it's a waste of time coming here. Kingsley, please, listen to what I'm saying. I'm sorry. If we don't try and make this impression, then it's a waste of time coming here. Madam, if you started, there's a Coca-Cola started sometime in 18-something in the U.S. Today everybody knows Coca-Cola. If you started your own Afri-Cola tomorrow, it doesn't have to get to all the places Coca-Cola has been. But if you like the Afri-Cola, then you go for the Afri-Cola. That's the way I believe it should be. These parties are new things that they are everywhere. They started and they have taken the money of the state. that used the taxpayers' money to get to all those places. My party is taking the PDP and APC to court and asking them that they should be delicensed. It's part of what we're doing. It's built on fraud. And again, let me also say, this country now, mafia society built on fraud, we can't even get our revenues and our taxes out. And that's the reason why we're coming. You don't understand, we won't be in every village, I'm sorry. It's going to take a process. Do you know how much money some of us have spent to get to this level? People are selling their houses and everything they have. So it's not that easy. Apart from that, so we're not looking to only elite. Mrs. Wada spoke about change of strategy. That's part of what I'm doing. Alright? You see, every day you wake up, you get inspired. I woke up, I've written articles for 16 years before running for president. Every week. I've written 6 books. I've written about 3,000 articles. And then we said, part of the change of strategy is to say, now I'm going to run for president. Get a platform. Say the same things that I've been saying, but now they will listen. Because if you don't, you're in trouble. And then I decided to now take it to the streets as well. So, you see, the strategy is about being dynamic in your approach. We could wake up tomorrow and decide to do something else. But so, the strategy is evolving. Restructuring, I want to say, I agree with Governor Duke. Restructuring, in my view, should be built into the Nigerian constitution. The next constitution, because to me, restructuring is about moving the table around. There is no perfect union. The United States is still changing and working on its own structure. As we speak, when some presidents come, they do what they call block grants. Block grants are bulk money that they give to some states to develop, for the governor to use. Some use what they call categorical grants, which is directed to health or directed to education and all of that. So that's my view on that. I'll let Professor Kingsley speak. Now you are rushing us. I told you earlier on, madam. I told you. You didn't get the strategy right. 5. Meaning that a barrel of crude oil is about 21,000 naira. That phone in your hands, if it's 200,000 naira, that's 10 barrels of crude oil. Crude oil isn't worth that much. It's a big illusion. Alright? And that's the way we can begin to look at it. And look at the kind of things we buy. Recently, as part of our protest, the Minister for Budget came out and said that he will not be allowing the purchase of all these SUVs in the coming budget. In fact, a certain budget proposal that was sent from NERC was stepped down when they wanted to buy some new SUVs for their directors, about 8 of them and all of that, top end. And the government said, no, they are not going to, of course, I know they will still smuggle it in. But one Toyota Prado at 60 million naira, alright, divided by 21 is about 30,000 barrels of crude. And we're talking about gross. If you net off the cost, and according to to NERC, we only get 36% of the value of crude oil. The remaining 64% goes to the IOCs. So by the time you've netted, sorry madam, by the time that Prado is probably 60,000 barrels of crude. So you can see that we're in a hole as far as the economy is concerned. But that said, on agriculture, in fact, he took it out of my mouth, Mr. Tolu, or what's it? Sorry. Toby. I just wrote an article this evening, which I titled, Forget It, Nigeria doesn't know anything about agric. Netherlands is only 41,000 square meters. It's 2/3 of Niger State. It's the second highest exporter of agricultural products after the US. $120 billion every year. And here we are sitting, all of us sitting on $25 billion budget. All of us killing ourselves over it. What is the strategy? For me, I believe that one of the areas we can look at is that our academia is not seeing our farms. Again, I believe very strongly that we can actually leverage a lot of things on our students, on our youth. A woman in University of Abeokuta, Federal University of Agric in Abeokuta, she did an experiment for 24 years to create a certain Nigerian kind of chicken. She just finished the experiment, she just finished the thing this year because there was no funding. Now every innovation, every project that comes out of our university, especially the area of Agric that we're speaking about now, should make it to the farm. In China, they are eradicating poverty, sir. Sorry, madam. This is very important. In China, they are eradicating poverty in China. As I'm speaking to you, there was an article in this day. One of the reporters went to China, And a private sector company was the one that they used. The government pays the private sector. The guy went there to those villages. They first of all build houses for those farmers, relocate them from those terrible houses they live. Do you know that in this country we've never had a plan since 1960 for our rural dwellers? No plan. Now, so what they do, sorry, when I said madam, 90,000, I must say this, end up to second, I'm so sorry. 90,000 greenhouses have been built in this province. You know what the meaning of 90,000 greenhouses? And we have architects, we have engineers. If you don't want to bring the ones that are, go and tell the students, we can build this country. The biggest fraud that has been wrought on the youth of this country is that the leaders of this country have refused to allow the youth to be part of the development. They have the energy, they have the passion. But you give way and let the youth of this country do it. Thank you very much. I'm not quite a youth, but we can energize the youth. People with energy and get it done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, madam. I'm just
1 minute to round up.